started off as a farm. My dad bought this little squatter's rights, or back then meaning ownership from another party that had it previous, back in '49. And it was just probably 10 acres of this piece was in cultivation, and the rest of it was all in brush and so forth. So we started developing slowly without the resources. It took a while, and finally got it. And we got a well in the early '50s, and then we started farming this as farm. He farmed it until the late '60s when he became ill and couldn't farm it any longer. Meantime, I was working for another company that had to bring his cattle, and wasn't spending any time here mainly. And after my dad became sick, then I came back to the ranch here, the farm here, and I had a few cattle, I think about 30 head. And I started converting the farm into a ranch. And by the early '70s, was well established here in terms of cattle and in terms of ranching, and it just escalated from there. We finished in the '70s. We finished leveling all the land, clearing and leveling all the land. So it's just shortly under 200 acres of ground that we have here in cultivation. Well, I was the oldest child, the oldest boy of 16 kids, and I was number 5. I had four older sisters than I were. So by having the older sisters, I learned how to cook and sew and all that good stuff before I was old enough to go out in the field. So when I turned 7 years old, I think, if I can remember, I started working out in the field, and I've been working ever since. So I know a little bit about both. We unfortunately, half my siblings is gone. I mean, they're passed because we had a stomach problem, and with cancer, and a lot of them went out early. But it's out of 16, it's 8 of us left. Just about half left, and we're, as you well know, we're very close family, and we've always been close when we was growing up. My mother and father, they didn't go anywhere without the kids, and we was packed either in the back of a pickup or in a big old car somewhere.
Well, it was kind of not really a hard deal, but work. It really had to work. The dad, he was a cotton farmer, actually was a cotton farmer, and so we had to do a lot of field work. Mostly, work in the fields, chopping cotton, picking cotton, involved in cotton, most of our deal. And with my other siblings, the younger ones that made along with me, we got along pretty good, but I always was kind of the bossy one of the bunch.
We didn't have to play ball. We had a team to play ball with. We don't have to go out to get nobody.
Yeah, I worked for the company I started working for, was Yuma Valley Cattle Company, and the owner was Floyd Newcomer, and started in 1960 started working for him, and in '67, that's when he passed. And I managed the ranch down here for the estate and the bank, the Newcomer estate, for a year. And meantime, we sold the ranch to John Todd of Tucson. And John, one of his stipulations of buying the ranch was that I would come to work for him and maintain the cattle. I was buying the cattle. He didn't buy the ranch. He bought the cattle for me to come down and work for him. And I did. I went down there, and we was right out of Sassabee. That's a little town on the Mexican border. I think it's 43 miles from Tucson. It was southwest of Tucson, and it was a lot of fun down there, but it was kind of isolated. You went down there, and it just wasn't nobody down there. Your closest neighbor was probably 8-10 miles. So I enjoyed it. I enjoyed working for him, but then my dad got sick, and I had to come back here.